Okie dokie, I'm back. Sorry for the cheesy smile in the beginning. I have this countdown on my camera, so it literally gives you a 3, 2, 1 action kind of thing. So I don't know. I kind of sit there for a couple seconds like this. So one of them, one of my videos caught me in the freeze frame like this, looking like a total dork. So I don't know. Anyway, sorry for my cheesy smile. Okay, it's a few minutes later. I'm actually going to try something different this time. I'm gonna put a little music in the background and see if it works out. I'm not a really technical guy. I got my tech guy, my roommate and my best friend, really good guy. But I'm going to go ahead and put the music just in the background, and it'll be appropriate. It's from the Superman the movie. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about Superman the movie, so I figured it would be appropriate. And before I post this, I'll make sure that the music isn't too loud. I've got it at a pretty low volume, and I've got the bass off, so it should be okay, but we'll see. Okay, so like I said in my previous video, I'm going to comment a little bit about the original Superman movie, the exact title of which is Superman the Movie, which came out in, I think, 1978, and of course starring Christopher Reeve, as we all know. And then I'm going to tie something about that movie to Man of Steel to get your all's thoughts on it. Superman the movie, for me, will always be in a category all by itself, in the sense that it will always be, in some sense, the best Superman movie ever made. This is my favorite piece, by the way. My favorite piece of music from Superman, the movie. It's when Ma Kent, it's a couple, probably, it's never really specifically given to us, but it's after Jonathan Kent's death, and Martha wakes Clark up and finds that he's not in his room. And she looks out the window in the distance and sees him in the field, and then she walks up to him and they have their little conversation, and this music is playing, and it's wonderful. It's one of my favorite pieces of movie music that's ever been composed. Anyway, Superman the movie will always, in my mind, and probably in the minds of millions of people, be the best Superman movie ever made, and will always be in a category by itself. So yeah, you'll have Superman Returns, and now you have Man of Steel, as far as actual cinema is concerned. Then you had Smallville, which I loved, by the way, and I'll probably do a video about Smallville in the future. I absolutely adore Smallville. I mean, I think it got a little bit after the 6th season, but ultimately it went out with a bang, and I thought it was a great take on Superman. And then, of course, you had I don't know if I said Lois and Clark. I think I already did. But regardless, you had all these iterations of Superman on TV and in film. Now we're going to get Man of Steel. And in my opinion, no matter how awesome Man of Steel will be, and I think it's going to be, as you know, and however awesome any future Man of Steel movies will be, they don't deserve to be compared to Superman the movie. First of all, it's been almost, 40 years now? They're separated by 40 years of technology, 40 years in the evolution of acting as a trade, as a craft, really all kinds of stuff. Musically, well, geez, I don't know, I might be defeating my own argument here, I'm not sure, but musically, I think it'll be almost impossible to beat even this new score, as awesomely majestic as this new score sounds. Again, John Williams' score is in a category all by itself. I just ultimately don't think it's fair to judge Superman the movie against Man of Steel. That's obviously my own personal opinion. But having said it now, I'm going to go a step further and say that no matter how awesome Man of Steel is, in some weird, strange, nuanced, hazy way, it won't be better than Superman the movie. this part. Oh my goodness. This is the part where him and Martha are holding hands. And she says, "Remember us, son. Always remember us." God. One of the best moments in a superhero movie, hands down. Okay, so enough of the melodrama, although I must be honest, I'm really touched by this music. I love it. And I love this scene. So yeah, Superman, the movie, for me, has to just remain in its own category. It's always number one in its own isolated category. I don't put it in a category with any of the other Superman movies, to include Superman 2, Superman 3, Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Jesus, I didn't like that one. Nor does it go into the same category with, Superman Returns. It's its own thing, and it's number one because it's the only thing there. It just stands on its own. So I guess I wanted some people's thoughts on that. Should Superman the movie always stand alone as its own entity, to be loved and cherished forever by the generation that was around when it came out and succeeding generations? Or should it be compared to the newer iterations of Superman? My opinion is it stands alone, and that in some other more felt and intuited than really known kind of way, Christopher Reeve will always be Superman for me. I think a lot of people think that way, and this is because, in my opinion, he didn't just portray Superman. Christopher Reeve just channeled the character, just got into that uniform, or that costume. I call it a uniform. It really is his uniform. Got into that uniform and just became Superman. In his gestures, which were very nuanced, in his humor, in his philosophical outlook, just great stuff. So, however awesome Henry Cavill may be, and I think he is going to be really good, again, Christopher Reeve will always be Superman in my heart. But that will, in not one iota, not in any way, shape, or form, will that at all inhibit me from enjoying Man of Steel. Okay. So here's the big question I wanted to ask. This is the one I really want to tie to. This is how I want to tie Superman the movie to the upcoming Man of Steel. And this is kind of a big one. This is the Fortress of Solitude music. Jesus, such good stuff. I wonder how many millions of Superman fans out there are actually listening to this music right now. Probably a lot of us. Okay, here's the question. At the end, well, there's actually two-pronged, and I'll do it quick because I'm coming up on my 10 minutes. Number one, do we get the final iconic shot in Man of Steel of Superman flying over the Earth, and just before the credits roll, we see him flying toward the camera, looking down and around, and then right before he flies out of view, he looks up at the camera with that trademark smile. That smile that says, "Don't worry, everybody. I've got your back. I'm here for you. Don't be afraid." Do we dare ask Snyder, or has Snyder dared put that in the movie? Are we going to get that final iconic shot? And if we do, are we going to get a hint of the Williams score? Obviously throughout the entire film we'll probably not, but are they going to give, is that going to be a little Easter egg? Is that going to be something that the fans are going to get? Or might it not even be appropriate given the tone of the rest of the film? I mean, that might not work. I mean, it might sound good on paper, it might sound good in the mind abstractly. Oh my God, are they going to do that? Because they made some nods like that in Smallville, especially at the end. So, do you think they'll do it? And if so, is it appropriate? Just curious about what you folks think, all you real hardcore Superman fans out there. Anyway, that's it. And, well, again, enjoy the movie, and you probably won't be hearing from me until about a week and a half or 2 weeks. Later, guys.